All right. We're here for the Snapshot PD for digital text, using digital text in the classroom with Lucy Beilman, Jennifer Sullivan, and Andrea Wickers. I'm going to turn over to you guys to go over your content. Just let me know when you'd like your slides advanced.
All right. So Andrea came over to Ellis and introduced a couple of programs to us and asked us if we'd be interested in joining her on this little journey to try to test this out and see how it works in Ellis. So Jennifer and I put our heads together. We came up with a student we both shared. We came up, her name is Paisley, and she's a second grader, and she goes to speech as well as she comes to me for reading.
Yeah, and she's in speech 20 minutes twice a week. Her goals are for vocabulary, just a whole host of vocabulary, stating antonyms, synonyms, making associations, things like that, and then also working on grammar.
And for me, she comes to me for 45 minutes every day for reading, and also comes for 20 minutes for extra math support. So that's what she comes to me for. And her goal for reading is just learning the sight words and blending, because she has a terrible time with blending CVC words and making all those sounds together form a word. And right now we're also working on some fluency because she has gained a little bit of the sight words, and this program's really kind of helped her, I think.
Mm-hmm. And we've been working with Paisley now for about 1.5 years. We started with her at the beginning of first grade when she moved into the district, and came in with just a very low confidence.
Yes.
Very quick to shut down, just not a lot of persistence or motivation to really push, work toward anything. So I think we're ready to go to the next slide. So we, along with Andrea, sat down together and completed the set, which main thing first, we look at the student, then we considered the environment and looked at the tasks, figured out the tasks that would help her with advancing her reading skills. We're ready for the next
screen.
So looking at the student, next screen, Kyle, we sat down and did a set planning guide together. And we first considered her strengths, that she is very proud of herself when she does well. She generally has pretty good comprehension as long as she understands the vocabulary. But the weaknesses, she was giving up very easily, sometimes shutting down very quickly. Has a hard time decoding words, needed a lot of prompting. Anything you want to add there?
No, it just, Paisley was one that, like when she first came to us, even if he brought out anything with reading, the tears would just come. Reading was just not something she loved at all. Writing was a definite something that set her off and would make her just shut down to where she would throw her head on the table and just cry. So
with the environment, we were wanting to help increase her independence and also her engagement with activities. She's in the resource room for reading and math, and then general education classroom for her writing. And with the tasks,
we just wanted to increase her independence on being able to pick up a book and read it, at her level, and so that she could feel confident and be proud of herself in order to be able to do that. And find a way to help her with the grade level reading material, because it is too high for her. And so just by this program and being able to use some of the things that Andrea has introduced me to, we can put her science online for her and things like that. So she's able to listen to it and be able to get her information that way instead of trying to read it herself, because that's not doable.
Yeah. And then another one of the tasks there, she needed help with writing and constructing short stories. So then on the second page there, you see some of the tools that we implemented. Yeah, we can only see half of the screen, but we did the read and write tool, and then Lucy has available on her iPad Bookshare and also Dolphin Reader. In our speech sessions, I implemented story chants just to help with that story grammar, help her with organizing her thoughts so that she could construct a short story. Anything else there?
Nope.
Okay. I think we're ready for the next. So here's Paisley.
This is Paisley, one of the sweetest little girls that I've ever met. I asked her about herself. She enjoys unicorns, taco pizza, swimming, science, pandas, and I believe it's a movie called Encanto or Encanto. But she does not enjoy math at all. It's too hard, she says, so she does not enjoy it. But she's a little sweetie, and that's Paisley.
Okay, next page. Yep, next slide. So yeah, she's a second grader here at Washington Grade School. Regular education teacher is Miss Hanson. She's 8 years old, lives with her grandma and grandpa, and then her 2 brothers. A strength, somewhat of a strength for her. She always does try her best, but that shutdown comes very quickly, and she can get pretty upset sometimes. Some barriers and challenges that she has experienced. I'm not sure what that says.
The very
over
limited
there.
writing.
Yeah, limited writing, real problem envisioning what she would like to say, and then putting it on paper. She has a hard time organizing her thoughts. And when she is writing, her vocabulary is very simple, not a lot of variety to it.
Yeah. The spelling is very tough for her also because she's unable to, at the time, to blend words together. So she can't pull the word apart in order to spell it either.
Mm-hmm. But she was willing to try new things and putting forth some effort to try some new tools. That was why we chose her. Next slide. So then Andrea came over and completed the PAR with Paisley along with Lucy. And you can see her scores here. I'll let you explain that.
Okay, so when Paisley was given a passage of silent read, and she's in the 2nd grade, we bumped her back down to the 1st grade and she got to 33%. And then with a human read aloud, she got a 43%, which is
on grade level.
On grade level.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we did the text reader, she jumped up a little bit to the 50%, which is what we kind of like to see. So that's something that I used in order for me to figure out what I was going to do in the class with her, like, what's going to help her. And so, we know that the human read aloud or the text reader are probably her best things because reading by herself, she just isn't able to decode enough words in order to figure out what's be able to comprehend anything. Okay, in the Ames web, you can't really see over there, but that was something else I used with her. And she actually is at the 5th percentile for the oral reading fluency. And that was when we first got her for this. And then we kind of implemented some of the stuff. And so I kind of pulled some more stuff on her today just to see where we're at. And so was at the 5th percentile. And she started out with just being able to read in the fall. She read 4 words per minute. And then when we got, then I started introducing her and she got up to the 6 words per minute. And now she's up to 11 correct words per minute. That's just an average. So she's making progress. It's very slow, but we're seeing that progress made. And I think that these programs are really going to help her.
Next slide. Okay, so the environment, we'll go to the next slide. This is her classroom, Miss B's classroom.
Right. So this is my classroom, and this is where Paisley spends some of her time, and she receives her core reading and spelling instruction in here with me. At the same time, her classmates are getting it, so she's not missing out on anything in the classroom. And then she receives speech language services twice a week for 20 minutes. And then she also has 15 minutes of pull out where she comes back down here so we can help her with the basic math skills. So this is kind of just, you can kind of see like what the setting is and what goes on in our room. Okay, next slide.
And then the task. We'll go to the next slide. So our basic goals for her was that she would become more independent with her reading and writing skills through using the tools that we were implementing. And we wanted to see Paisley be more confident using those programs for her written assignments, taking the initiative to even use those in the classroom and not requiring, instruction from us. Next, and also see her keep up with her peers with what they're doing in the classroom and getting closing that gap between where she's at with her reading skills and her classmates.
Okay, some things that we decided that she might need was to have the text read to her with her iPad. And each student here at Washington Grade School is given an iPad. So she has her own iPad that she can use daily for that. We also thought the use of headphones to help out block out that noise from other kids. So those are the things we're going to be using. The text to speech for writing assignments with the ability to play back what was spoken and or written to check her work. I can't wait to start just talking about that because she's so excited. But those are what we thought she needed. So you can go to the next slide. What is the other T?
What's the second T? I can't see it. Andrea, I couldn't hear you.
It's tools.
Tools, that's right. Yes, the tools. So we implemented the tools. We can go to the next slide of the read and write tool, which she can bring up on her iPad and have things read to her. We have Bookshare on her iPad. And she also has access to Epic. Lexia is something they use school-wide. And then Miss B also has the Teacher Monster to read here in her classroom that she utilizes with the students. Next slide. And also Dolphin Reader, were you using that too?
Yeah, that's part of Bookshare.
Okay. All right, so the technology. Like Lucy already mentioned, each student has their own iPad here at school. They do leave them here at school. And all of these apps have been placed on all the student iPads now. So they all have access to these programs. And she's using those programs to access her books. We can go to the next slide. Okay.
All right, this is Miss Paisley in action. And I pulled just one of her writing samples. And it says, what can people do when the sun is out? So you see her little picture there. And she says, we can play outside. We can go to the pool and we can go on the trampoline. And then I wrote back to her, I love the pool. But that's her on the trampoline right there.
And how long did it take her to write that?
That took a couple tears, and that took her, I would say, about 20 to 25 minutes to write that. Because just the thinking of it and trying to figure out, she was so worried about, what if I spell it wrong? I said, it's okay, just go ahead and write it, you know? So she was a little frustrated with doing that, but that's one of her better samples right there. So I was kind of proud of that. The next sample is when I introduced the read and write program to her. And so she was able to get on and do her speech to text. And she came up with, I can't read that because I'm too old.
I swim like a mermaid. So she was given the same prompt. What can we do when the sun is out? Or something similar to that. Yeah. And she said, I swim like a mermaid. I'd like to go to the Hayes pool because it dumps water on me. Sometimes I go to the pool with my grandma. We go back home and rest. I eat my food and then take my meds and go to bed. So you can see that her second sample is just so much more elaborate. There's more details. Each sentence starts with a different word, more complex sentence structures. And it probably took much less time to write that.
I would guess maybe 5 minutes or less because she enjoys using this.
So we can get a true idea through this program of the thoughts, the ideas that she has in her head that she can't get out through pencil and paper.
Okay. And the next little thing over here, I don't know, we can't see.
Yeah,
her.
I'll let Kyle play that.
What? I can't hear it.
Well, yeah, we can't hear it. Kyle, Devin can move her this because we cannot each move it.
Are they able to hear it?
Can anybody hear that?
No, I can't.
It's like going in slow motion.
Yeah, and I can't hear it though either. So I don't know why Zoom does that.
Well, you remember what
I can hear it, but it'll be on the video. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, well, this was just pretty much her I asked her about the Read to Write program, and I said, you know, what do you think of it? So I said, let me, I said, introduce me to it, show me how to work it. So she got out her iPad, she got right on the program. She's talking her way through it. And, you know, and I asked her why she liked the program better. She said, well, because number one, it's easier and it's fun. She enjoys doing it because, I don't know if she said that on here, but she enjoys doing it because it writes the words for her. And she was so excited that she could say any word and she would have it spelled correctly.
And I think she said that it helped her, it made her feel like she was smart.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember, because I said, well, what kind of dog is on here, you know, just to try to get her to write a little bit more. And she's like, and she giggled and she's like, it's a wiener dog. And she gets to put that in there. So, you know, normally she wouldn't get to write that stuff. She would just write dog. So she was pretty excited about that. She's loves this program.
We'll go to the next.
She's so cute in that picture. And these are just some of her remarks after she started using this and got good at it. It's just like, wow, you mean it'll spell the words right for me? I like this. I'm going to sound so smart. And this is easy to do. And then she said, thank you, because she loves this program.
So the things that she gained through the course of this improved her access and participation in the general education curriculum. Her math curriculum was added to Bookshare, so she has access to that. It's improved her access and increased participation with Epic. She loves to read or listen to her books there, and improved her progress toward her goals. She has increased reading fluency and written language skills, and definitely has increased her self-esteem. She's feeling better about herself and just feels good about it all around.
And she's not afraid when I'm giving her a writing assignment, because she'll ask me, do I write it on paper or can I do it on my iPad? And I'm like, it's your choice. And so she 9 times out of 10 will always pick the iPad over it, because she enjoys being able to just say it all. The only thing that bothers her is when I have a parent in the room that's talking too loud, and she will look at them and say, you are talking too loud. I'm trying to write a story. So just that alone just tells me how much she is enjoying doing what she's doing.
And I feel like this has really, why are you laughing?
What
Has
I
really,
wrote.
it's been great for the regular education teachers. I know Lucy's had a couple come to her when she's seen students that she works with who have kind of, you know, shown this program or been using it in the classroom. And so the teachers are coming in and asking us about it and wanting it for all of their students. And so now every student in the building has access to it. The teachers are excited about it, the regular education teachers. I don't know to what extent any of them have used it thus far.
One of the teachers, the 5th grade teacher, came in and she's like, Lucy, she goes, what is that program that one of your students is using? She goes, he was using it in my classroom. And it wasn't even this little girl I'm working with, it was just another student. And so I told her what it was, and she goes, can you show me how to work that? Because we're having to do that writing for the Hayes Arts Council. And she goes, and some of them don't want to write, but I think they'll do that. And so that's how she kind of introduced it to her class. She was super excited. And then we have another teacher here, you know, because we do famous figures, and some of those kids are not writers, but they will speak it into there. And so they did a lot with the famous figures. So it's starting to trickle into the regular ed, and it's great. And oh, and the 2nd grade teacher, she came up and asked me about it too. So, and it was not even Paisley's teacher, it was the other 2nd grade teacher. She's like, I like this. So super excited.
And we have wonderful support from our tech. He's always quick to respond and very thorough about making sure it's available to the students and making sure that it's working. So we're very thankful for that too. So yeah, our next step with getting it into all the general education classrooms. We're working through that, and it's going well so far. Next slide. Yeah, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah, that was the reason I wanted these gals to share this, was how when you looked at it, they didn't probably even think they had that expectation of how broad this would go, but it started with just doing it with one student. And, you know, once they got comfortable with one student, Lucy started adding it pretty quickly to other students. But then it's pretty powerful when the kids are using it outside in the classroom. That came from not type of, learning about a tool and then taking it back as a teacher. That came from kids using it. So I think
Yeah,
that that's
really
the
didn't.
powerful piece.
It really didn't involve much work on our part
No.
at all.
They
It was
love
the
it.
kids that spread
But
it.
you guys were willing to do this, and that was amazing. Like even just one kid, you started with one little girl, and look how broad this, went just by that one little step that you took. So you guys did awesome.
I have a question, and Andrea, you might be able to answer this a little bit more. But so I have I'm thinking about a kid at Holy Family. She's in SPED right now, and she's a second grader. Reading difficulties and stuff, but like I don't know, I'm kind of making it my mission to decrease SPED time, and but she goes to like the SPED room to have like her tests read to her. Would that can you like upload like a PDF version of the test?
Yeah.
And
So
have it read
at Holy
to her?
Family, it's actually even easier. We can do that on any of them, but she has the Chromebook.
Mhm,
So yes, if it was uploaded as a PDF, the test,
mhm.
she could easily do that. And I could come and show, she should have access. I did a little like tech lesson.
Yeah, Gina kind of told me about it and stuff. I just
Mhm.
was curious if like for like her religion tests, her science tests,
Yeah.
those her math tests, if they could upload like the PDF version, because a lot of them still take paper and pencil
Mhm.
tests and stuff. So I didn't know if they could upload like a PDF version and she just puts her headphones on and takes it
Yep.
in the classroom instead of going down to the SPED room. It's so noisy in there and she's out of the classroom. And I just wonder if it would like increase the productivity, I guess, is
100%. Like if they already have something that they're printing it from or a test they've created, they already have it. That's a lot of times teachers sometimes feel like it takes extra work, but honestly, if they already have it, the minor pieces that come into play with that is like, okay, if she has a Google account, which she would, or send it through like Seesaw or something, and then she opens it. And, just, it's usually the tech things that kind of slow this all down, like the little tiny minor things of like, how does she send it back to us? Like,
yeah.
those things might take a learning curve to sit down and like do it, which, I can come help with something like that, but it would absolutely, and that's kind of what I think, Kyle's thought was with this too. This is keeping kids in the classroom more. And so we don't have to have para read alouds, human read alouds as often, when we can provide an accommodation and saying, you know what, you don't need that. This makes you independent. And starting with a second grader, that's really powerful. Like maybe I would suggest also starting with like one class, one type of test.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, just because, but once, honestly, the kids usually fly with it. And I bet Lucy can probably tell you that her kids probably maybe have taught her a couple things. I know the kids always teaching me stuff when I go and see them. So.
Yeah, I know a fifth grader is using it at Holy Family and and it's kind of sprinkled throughout the room a little bit because he has like modified curriculum and stuff. And so he's trying, but it's sprinkled throughout the room a little bit. And that's kind of one of my goals for Holy Family is to utilize this program more next year because there's so many kids that are in and out of this bedroom at Holy Family. And I just want, I want to work towards them being able to just stay in the classroom, but not depending necessarily on para time for that. So, okay.
Exactly how it would help.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, if you want some guidance, I can even meet separately with you sometime about that and like kind of go over some things that, talking about stuff. I know at Rachel, beginning of the year, we all kind of thought we were going to talk with teams, but things got kind of trying to figure out the tech pieces of it. But I think now this year we kind of ironed out some of those things. And I think, now that we know we have it available, that we can figure out a plan to even talk to the teachers or.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I actually asked Rachel if there could be like an early release or like a piece of an in-service day. I was like, I don't think Andrea would go on, a half a day tangent.
Yeah.
I think, we could at least introduce it within like, an hour and a half time frame. And
one thing that's I found, if we can find a couple students, I'm going to try this at the high school. I know it's towards the end of the year, but one thing that we're going to try. So since I just introduced the tool to these high school students, we're doing something called a gallery walk. I read an article about it, and then I was like, oh, I want to do this. I just got to find somebody, a teacher to do it with me. But these kids were so excited about certain pieces of this. And so I told them all, if they would, by the time I make a time to come back with their teacher, if they would each have something I can show me. And then I want to ask a couple of them if they'll be willing to like do where we have them maybe come to the library and we invite some teachers to come and like kind of walk around, and they can show the teachers, like they're the ones showing the teachers how they're using this tool. And the reason I say that is I know a lot of people get excited about tools and everything, but I just have found that when they hear it from kids, it seems to be one of the most powerful things that we can do to get it going like that, like quicker. And that's kind of what I mean, like Lucy here, a kid come in and a teacher saw a kid using it, and that's what made the teacher come and ask. So those are some of the things that made that spark in my head, like, okay, I think this is the way to maybe do this, is try to get more kids willing to show how they're using it and do it that way. So I don't know, that's one option, at least for older kids. I know they have like 5th and 6th at Holy Family. So maybe that could be.
Yeah. And they do a lot of, like, they switch from class to class at Holy Family. Like, they have one science teacher, so she does all 4 sections,
Yeah.
And so
maybe even if you had like a couple, maybe a 5th grader and a 6th grader who'd be willing to like kind of show some things, maybe we can do that. And I'm like, I told them all, I'm like, I'll bring something for you. I got to figure out what high schoolers like and what entice high schoolers. Young kids are pretty easy. I can fidget spinners and,
Yes. Okay. I think you and I could probably come up with, just a way to just ease it in. It's a 2nd grader. I want her in the classroom more. And I think parents would really appreciate that as well. And so I think that would be, and she's really, really willing to try anything, but she's kind of reminds me of this little girl you guys talked about. Like, she gets really frustrated and just kind of like, I can't do it anyways. Like, she would give herself F's on papers that she didn't even turn in yet. Kind of a thing, like just write F's on them because she's like, I'm just going to fail at it, and that's, the 2nd grader shouldn't feel like that. So that's why I don't know, I think it would maybe increase like parents, like confidence in the plan that we have and stuff like that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yep. I love that for us.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Jennifer and Andrea. Thank you for all you're doing to help get this tool out there. I talked with Mr. Herman, your tech guy, on Monday when I was there for the board meeting, just to check in, like, hey, have there been any issues with it? It sounds like there haven't been, which is awesome to hear. You just basically set it up and let it go, and that's what we like to hear. So thanks for being such an advocate for this and for helping share with today so that other people can take advantage of this tool or the tools that are available to them, and make sure kids are staying in their class as much as possible. So, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
Bye.